you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. In tonight's game plan, we'll talk about the top duos in the NBA, but first, we'll hear from the newest addition to the PVL.
Ooh, buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, one team is shaking up the heart of volleyball as they announce their arrival to the PVL. Ladies and gentlemen, after much waiting, here are the Foton Tornadoes, and they are back as they get ready for the Invitational Conference. Let's hear more from the team themselves as we welcome Seth Rodriguez, Carly Hernandez, and May Luna to the show. Welcome to the game, and if I'm not mistaken,
Wala pang announcement or everything. So, ito yung first reveal ng Foton Tornadoes in the PVL. The three idols right here.
At least alam natin naka-roster na sila kasi nandito sila eh. But I want to start off first with Seth kasi this team medyo kept on the wraps but then the preparations have been going on. Kamusta naman yung samahan ninyo? And of course, I don't know if we can reveal the roster or see yung coaching staff. But let's focus first on yung preparation nyo so far. Kamusta naman?
So far, ngayon, nasa ano pa kami, parang nag-gel pa. Tinatry pa namin kuhain yung connections namin sa isa't isa kasi 3 weeks pa lang kami magkakasama. And this week lang kaming nabuo.
Okay.
Yung lineup.
So getting to know you face pa rin.
Of course, getting to know you.
Yeah.
Very important yung face na yan, Pao. And Carly, of course, the Foton, the fans have been waiting. Sino ba yung magiging players? Who will play for the Foton Tornadoes? Pero hindi yun ang tatanong natin kay Carly.
Okay.
You know, Foton has been a contender no matter where they play. Dito sa Philippines, even international, naglaro rin ng Foton before. Carly, now that you are gonna play for Foton in the debut dito sa PVL, ano yung i-expect naman ng mga fans sa itong bagong Foton team in the PVL?
Actually, andun nga, sinabi nga ni Seth na nandun pa kami sa time na nagje-gelling pa kami. So, more on yung ginagawa namin sa training is yung more on team
Right.
na drills. Kasi sabi nga nila coach na wala na kaming time eh. Parang wala na kaming time to prepare. So, yung mga gagawin namin is yung talagang magje-gel kami agad, which is yung mga like 6 na, 6-on-6, ganyan. So, ayun, actually, nothing to lose naman. Parang wala naman kaming no pressure at all. Kasi unang-una, kakabuo nga lang namin and kakasama nga lang namin yung iba, first time namin na nakasama. And then, ayun naman, parang kami, wala naman din mataas na expectations sa amin sila coach. So parang gawin lang, laro lang.
Okay, alam niyo naman yung laro ng isa't isa. Batchmates pala kami.
Yeah.
Batchmates kayo.
College ako, Pao.
Of course, I watch them as a professional. Pero I like how you said that sabi ni coach. Sino yung coach? May. No, I'm not gonna put you on the spot like that. Pero it seems to me na yung pinaunang challenge ninyo is how to get the team together, chemistry-wise, gelling-wise. And if I'm not mistaken, so far, once a day pa lang yung mga trainings ninyo, how are you developing yung chemistry na yun, yung gelling na yun, to make sure na pagdating ng PVL, ready na kayo?
I think kahit naman sa labas ng court, nagtutulungan kami, nag-uusap kami, nagjo-joke time. So yun siguro yung maganda sa team namin ngayon kasi kahit na ngayon na kami nagkakasama, nagkiklik kami agad. So, konting connection pa and syempre konting practice pa sa mga drills na kailangan naming magawa sa loob ng court.
Well, especially kahit anong team sport naman, very important ang chemistry, communication. I'm sure you guys are working on that. And Seth, we talked about the team, now individual naman. You played for Cherry before this, if I'm not mistaken. And ngayon, ano yung mga learnings na natutunan mo doon now that you're in a new team? Ano yung madadala mo para sa bagong team?
Siguro yung mas mabilis ka kailangan mag-adjust. Kasi from other team ako, going to Cherry, kailangan ko agad makigel sa kanila, makibagay, parang yun, makausap ko sila agad at saka mag-connect agad kami. Ang natutunan ko siguro yung nadadalhin yung palaban, lalo si Ate Maylene pa at
Siyempre.
we all know, di ba, kung gano'n siya kapalaban pagdating sa game. Yun yung sigurong binaon ko going to Foton.
And Cardi, of course, a lot of the players, at least for a lot of the newer clubs, some haven't played in the PBL for a while. For those who haven't and for those who were siguro in limbo for a moment, how do you stay fresh? How do you stay fit? How do you make sure na, okay ka pagdating ng season na kung may tumawag na team na, okay, ready ka?
Yun din kasi yung parang mindset ko nung nag-decide ako mag-rest.
Yeah.
Sabi ko, hindi ako pwedeng mapahinga ng matagal. Saka hindi, as an athlete, parang hindi ka din mapapakali. Parang, pag wala kang ginagawa, hindi ka sanay.
Yeah.
So, ako, usually, workout ako, tapos nagbobola-bola din ako. So, kahit sabi ko, may kumuha man or wala, gusto ko,
Ready.
Ready ako or kondisyon yung katawan ko. So, yun.
So aside from volleyball, ano yung mga ginagawa mo nun? Siyempre, iba rin yung team court, team play
Yes.
talaga. Pero anong ginagawa mo nun before?
Actually, nagji-gym ako talaga. Lagi ako, sobrang ako ng gym. So, lagi ako nasa gym din, naglalaro-laro din ako. Since yung mga kapatid ko din kasi naglalaro din ng volleyball. So, minsan nag-aano kami ng nag-schedule kami na maglalaro kami ng kami-kami lang. So, yeah, yun.
And may ikaw medyo, you could say veteran, di naman veteran, pero you have experience na in playing in
Yes.
the pro ranks. Ano yung sa tingin mo yung magiging role mo dito sa bagong
Yeah.
team, sa Foton? Napag-usapan niyo na ba?
I think siguro yung pagdala ng team. Kasi like sinabi ni Seth na kami yung mga bata sa dating team namin. Kami yung sumusunod.
Right.
So ngayon,
Yeah.
dapat kami na yung maging example sa mga bagong teammates namin or mas nakakababata. Kasi syempre marami ding kaming teammates na bagong dating na mas bata. So kailangan kami yung i-look up nila na okay yung gagawin namin, maayos yung gagawin namin.
That's actually a good point. Kasi because wala pang roster, hindi namin alam kung ano yung makeup ng
Gusto
team
ko
ninyo.
malaman kung sino yung mga favorite na kalaro nila sa team eh.
Pwede rin, but because I don't want to get them to trouble. Carly, can you describe to us kung ano yung makeup ng team ninyo? Puro veterana ba? Is it, kamusta yung mix? And then of course, ano
Without
yung mga
saying too
roles?
much.
Without saying too much, right? Again, we don't know if you can say
sabihin
anyone.
ko na lang
Oo.
na siguro halos mga ka-batchmates namin. Yeah.
Batchmates natin.
Natin.
Batchmates ninyo.
Yes.
Alright. Hey, my generation's not bad. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us. Excited to find out kung sino yung magiging teammates nyo. And of course, excited to see you all in action very soon. Maraming salamat.
Thank you mga idol and good luck.
Thank you.
Catch the PVL Invitational Conference beginning June 27. Fans will be treated to a doubleheader at 3:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. at the Phil Oil Echo Oil Arena. And after the break, we shift to the NBA as we list down the top 1-2 punch combos in the league today. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back, you're watching The Game. It takes more than a superstar to win in today's NBA, and with the Denver Nuggets hoisting their first trophy, they seem to have found their dynamic duo. But where do they rank among the top tandems in the league? Now with us to give his list is NBA Philippines All-Star analyst, Coach Willie Wilson. Coach Willie, welcome back to The Game. Such an honor as always.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, let's start it off. Your ranking, Coach. So from number 1 to 5, let's start it off with the top of the list. Obviously, you had to put this on that list. Nikola, Jokic, and Jamal Murray. I mean, how potent is this numbers-wise? Crazy numbers for the both of them.
Well, you can't argue a ring, you know, as Beyonce said. Put a ring on it. But again, is Murray a superstar? We don't know. He's only done it for 1 year. He just came back from the ACL. But what I will argue is he is the yin to Jokic yang. Mm-hmm. You know, they complement each other so well. One does, you know, the stuff inside, can also stretch it outside in Jokic. But then because of Murray's gravity and his big shot making ability, he just takes so much pressure off of Jokic.
I love a conversation we had right before we went on air, which I want to bring you on to here, is all-time wise, are they already the best NBA duo, just looking at Jokic and Murray?
They can be. They can be, definitely, with the way that they just put a clinic on in these playoffs. It's really something that you can argue.
I think you gotta put them up there. I mean, historically, in terms of the numbers, they have the performance that they gave us is, you know,
it's special. It's special.
Yep.
And right before we go to this next pair, I just want to say hello again to all of the Laker fans out there. Coach Willie,
we're back. We're gonna talk about the Lakers again.
Ken, our producer, Mrs. Talking about this. Direct, Coach Willie, you have here LeBron James and Anthony Davis as your number 2. Why them in particular?
Okay, so we talk about the dynamic duo, okay? The 1-2 punch. Obviously, you have the other guys that come into play. Mm-hmm. And that was what was lacking for these Los Angeles Lakers. The 1-2 punch was always there, although they weren't always there at the same time for health reasons. But as you saw, starting off 2-10, ending up in the Western Conference Finals, it just so happened that they ran into the number 1 dynamic duo in the NBA. But keep in mind, you know, hypothetically, if ever they didn't have that 2-10 start, or they had that better supporting cast, we may be seeing a different team with rings on their fingers.
Well, exactly, Coach, because, you know, as the number 7 seed in the playoffs, they still made it to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, Denver was just really tough this year, Coach. But do you think this duo, how many years do they still have, and why do you think, you know, this is the only ceiling for them?
I mean, with modern technology, I know that modern technology hasn't worked too well for AD. But with modern technology and the way LeBron is just aging like fine wine, I can see a huge bounce back here. Hopefully, we can keep the team together for the most part, with a few tweaks here and there. Kyrie Irving, but
shout out.
Yeah.
Well, let's see whether or not that's going to come true, because you never know. You never know with the Lakers. LeBron said he might want to, you know, retire.
But
we'll see.
LeBron's going anywhere. LeBron's not going anywhere.
So, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is up next on Coach Willie's list for the Suns. This is honestly, potentially could have been the highest scoring one in the entire list. They're at number 3 for you.
Well, I mean, Booker just went off the charts in the playoffs. Small sample size, okay? Durant was there, then got hurt. They lost a large amount of their supporting cast. DeAndre Ayton still working through some things over there. But like you said, potentially this dynamic duo, this 1-2 punch, can just, you know, put up a bunch of points, potentially around 70 points per game.
I mean, they set up office in the mid-range area these playoffs. I mean, crazy performance from these two. But you could also argue, Coach, that the chemistry wasn't there yet when the playoffs came, because KD came into the Phoenix Suns with an injury.
Right.
Do you think this is going to be a very dynamic duo coming into the next season if, you know, the pieces are there? Chris Paul said that he was going to be out. I mean, Suns said that Chris Paul is going to be out.
I mean, with Chris Paul wasn't really there anyways, I don't see that really making a difference. It's all about them picking their spots. You said that they set up camp in the mid-range. How can they set up camp together in the mid-range and complement each other, doing pretty much the same types of things?
You would get pushback from the Celtics fans who you put below this duo. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker a step ahead of the duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Why aren't they as high in your opinion?
Well, I mean, how many rings does Durant have? Okay, so I got to throw that in there.
How many real rings? Or
So maybe not
Hey,
that.
rings are rings. Rings are
For a
rings.
different
okay?
episode.
Yeah, rings are rings. So the argument there is always going to, for me, it's going to be Durant has won it. Obviously, Booker has not yet. But the combination of Tatum and Brown, they have not. They've made it to the mountain.
Yeah.
But they have not made it to the mountain top. Okay,
Right.
so that's my argument for having them below Durant and Booker.
And Coach, what do you think of the way they complement each other? Because personally, I believe it's kind of redundant what they do. They both need the ball. They're not really off-ball scorers,
Very
if
similar.
you can say, right? They're
Yeah.
very similar, and we're not even sure if they're gonna run it back the next season. What do you think of this, tandem between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially in the playoffs, Coach?
Well, with the way the Celtics run their offense, it's isolation heavy.
Right.
NBA teams don't have too many, defensive stoppers. So you got to pick your poison. If you put your defensive stopper on Jason Tatum,
Yeah.
then Jaylen Brown goes off. If you put him on Jaylen Brown, then Jason Tatum goes off. So in that aspect, they kind of complement each other. Wherein,
Right.
hey, if you don't have it tonight, I got it.
Right.
So we have another duo that I honestly thought was unlikely or a bit weird when I first saw them together. Joel Embiid and James Harden. They had their moments this season. Obviously, didn't pan out for the two of them. James Harden could explode. He showed it to us again in the playoffs. But take a look at this tandem. Feels like there's still more that could have been gotten out of this duo.
Oh, a lot more. I mean, we got to talk about the health issue, okay? Health issues for Embiid entering the playoffs, throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, health issues for James Harden. But when this tandem came together, we already foresaw that this would be the best pick and roll duo in the NBA with the way that James Harden can run it. And then you can't, really sag off of Embiid because he can hit that mid-range jumper.
Yep.
And if he's rolling hard to the basket, he's going to dunk it on your head or he's going to the free throw line.
Coach Willie, last season you could argue that chemistry was maybe a factor because James Harden came in a little bit late into the season, but this time they had a whole season together. But what's the next level? Do you think they should work on other things aside from doing what they do? Because
Do they stick to this duo,
right? Because
actually?
numbers-wise, they produce, but in terms of attitude, winning in the playoffs, Coach.
There's always going to be a few tweaks. They've already gotten rid of the head coach. Coach Doc Rivers
Right.
has moved on. They're bringing in somebody new. Okay, so they're going to have some new, fresh ideas, ways to capitalize on the dominance that is Joel Embiid and the gravity that is James Harden. And I'm just so excited to see what they can come up with to make those guys click.
Couple of honorable mentions here. Domantas Sabonis and the Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings are the first one. And of course, the second one, who I want to focus on right before we go. It's the biggest what-if top duo here in a team that Coach Willie needed to show love to. Talking about the Clippers here, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Yeah, no love lost there. But again, you got to show the respect for those two. Again, very, very potent scorers and top-tier defenders, and you don't really see that too often.
Yeah.
But the health issue again, PG, out. Kawhi gets hurt again in the playoffs. But if those two can put it together, definitely I see them in the top 5, possibly in the upper half of that top 5.
I think some Heat fans were looking for some Bam and Jimmy there, but that's for another,
Oh, yes.
that's for another episode.
That's a different episode for sure. Coach Willie, really appreciate your time, and I can't believe we forgot about the Heat. You forgot
No,
about the Heat.
I did not forget about the Heat. They just did not, did not crack my top 5.
I got you, Coach. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Coach.
you. So after the break, we'll throw it back to the UAP volleyball tournament as the DLSU Lady Spikers celebrate the championship win with their crowd. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. back to the game. The confetti may have run out, but the championship spirit lives on with the DLSU Lady Spikers. The team celebrated their championship with a loyal LaSallian community, and we got to speak with the next generation of leaders. Now, let's watch this.
The championship meant everything to us po. You know, as a freshman for me, it was great to come and, you know, win straight away. And I know for the Ates, it meant everything, you know, bringing back the title to TEF.
Actually, it means a lot kasi part din siya ng history namin as a LaSalle, as a Lady Spikers. And I think it's also part of us making another one. Kagaya nga po ng ginawa nila ng last mga Lady Spikers before na parang nag-repeat sila. So, hindi po kami titigil kasi nga ngayon lang po namin nabawi. So, it really means a lot pero marami pa kami kailangan ibigay pa.
The seniors really just made us focus and determined to get this championship for them and for us. So yeah, they were the guidance that we needed, and they were the leaders that we needed.
The culture, LaSalle culture, Lady Spikers culture is always there. Yung binigay lang ng mga ates sa amin is the advice they had din sa mga previous mga ates namin na binigay din nila sa amin. And syempre, the system, alam nila yung sistema compared sa amin. So, kung anong system na ginagawa nila, sinasabihan nila, tas parang, yun, pinapakita nila yung system. So, na-adapt din namin.
Next season, they should expect pretty much the same thing, honestly, po. Just different players, but the same system, the same motivation and determination to keep winning this championship.
Expectation na siguro from us is that what you saw in season 85, marami pa kaming improvements to make as a team and individually. So I think there's a lot to make pa in the future, and you also know na marami pa kaming pagkakamali. So marami pang kailangan i-improve. Hello to the LaSallian community. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for loving us, for giving us your 100% trust on us.
Meanwhile, don't forget to grab your chance to support the Philippines in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. Buy 5-day passes at 20% off with this Independence Day World Cup promo package. Available from June 12 to June 16. Tickets are available at philippines-ticketing.worldcup.basketball. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
And I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.